Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Sherm in the Booth. My name is Sherm. You guys are some true Chicagoans for coming out in January. It's snowing outside, it's freezing, and you're at the fucking club at 1 a.m.
Boys with the bass, yeah, boys, bass.
Who am I talking to right now? You're famous.
Free food, free drinks, music, girls. Let's go.
Do you like it? Cool. If you don't, goodbye.
I'm missing the most important part.
Boys with the bass, yeah.
We should throw like a crazy bar mitzvah party.
This is crazy. Send me stems. I finished it.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Just wait. You know it kicks in like 3 to 5 seconds afterward.
Yo, what is good, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm, and today we have another special interview. Sherm in the Booth 223 features fellow podcaster and dance music reporter Olivia Mancuso. I've known Olivia for a few years, and I've always been impressed with her wide array of skills. From her days as a reporter to her entrepreneurial pursuits to interviewing some of the world's biggest dance music acts at EDC Vegas, and now her newest project called Elevated Frequencies, a podcast devoted to digging into the real lives of electronic musicians. It's always so much fun having another podcaster on because the conversation is natural and engaging, and this one was no exception. Such a blast. Thanks for making some time to come on the show, Olivia, and I'm looking forward to coming on Elevated Frequencies myself. Now let's get into it right now. This is episode 223 with Olivia Mancuso. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sherm in the Booth. It is my absolute honor to have a fellow podcaster here, a fellow journalist, and I consider myself a journalist in one way or another, right?
You absolutely are.
You'll give it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, because you actually did it. So if I can get the real right of approval from you, then we're good.
But you've had so many episodes of Sherm in the Booth. I mean,
That's true.
Please.
223 right now.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
That's props to you.
223.
This is a grind.
Dude.
As I'm learning. I just...
It is.
This week, I'll be publishing my 25th episode. Let's just put it that way, okay? And I'm fucking tired. I'm tired.
Yeah, you don't get less tired, Miss Olivia. I got to tell you that. Gosh, yeah, it's been an absolute grind, but I love it so much. Like, and getting back into it recently, and like I said to you before we went live, this is what like it's all about, like one-on-one connection. Just basically, if I'm hanging out with a friend and we just happen to put mics in front of us, you know?
Yeah. It's all about having good conversations.
Yeah, it is.
We don't have a lot of these anymore. It's
No.
all diluted through social media and online.
True.
You know?
Isn't it crazy how big podcasts are now, though? Like, I feel like people were talking about them for years, and like I've been doing it 7 years now, and even when I started, I felt like I was a little bit behind the ball because some of the biggest ones have been around for 10 to 15 years, but now everybody has a podcast. Like, political candidates are going on podcast tours.
I know.
To like get their name out there.
It's the new, not new, but it's the newest form of media that I think actually carries weight.
Yes.
You know, that people are looking to. They
Yep.
don't want to look to the news anymore. You know, it's either short form content or podcast turned into short form content for social.
So true.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a real authentic conversation, and like as a young American, you know, not to even get political about it, but like that's where I want to hear people be real. Like, I don't want to hear your speech. I don't want to hear your prepared lines that somebody else wrote for you. Like, if you're anyone in entertainment or politics, like, I like you because of the real you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So the first podcast that I ever really got into, I got into listening to podcasts when I was a news reporter.
Yeah.
Because I would be in the car all the time going to stories.
Yep.
And the first podcast I ever listened to was Bill Burr's podcast.
Nice.
And a lot of people have a lot of things to say about him as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
But I always said, listen to his podcast where he just riffs and he just talks.
Yes,
and
yes,
he's the
yes.
real him. And his
Yes.
show has changed so much over the years.
True.
But that's where I got to know him as like a real person. And I was like, this is so cool. I feel like I really know this man.
Yeah.
And it's not good to develop a parasocial relationship with a famous person by any means, but I was like I've been obsessed with him for a while, and it's because of his podcast, not because of his stand-up or anything else he's done, even though that's great too.
Oh, for sure. The comedians have the best podcasts because
Yeah, they do.
Comedians, it's one of like, I really respect like comedians and also like musical theater because I consider that to be like one of the hardest performing acts. Like DJing has its ups and downs. It's hard to sometimes make a whole crowd happy. If you are anything in entertainment, it can be really hard to, entertain people, just to put it bluntly. But if you're on that stage and you're musical theater, you have to act, you have to sing, you have to dance, and it's all live.
Yep.
Right? And
You get
comedians,
one shot.
everyone's got an opinion on what's funny.
Right.
So when they get up there and they kill it, but you have to be you is the point that I'm trying to make. And it's like, to bring it all back, like, I'm trying to make this podcast as fun as possible, and the only way to do that is if I'm having a good time with the guest.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's easy. The easiest path, I think I talked to my guest about this a lot, is to just be authentically you.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to do a shtick or, follow a trend,
Yeah.
that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So it's really just in your best interest to be yourself.
Why do you think that advice comes out so often? Is it because we live in such like a fake world?
Because so a lot of the artists that I interview, and I'm selective about my guests to kind of fit this certain criteria. I talk a lot about,
you do.
manifesting a dream career, having a healthy mindset. I do a lot now about like sober, low alcohol living.
Yeah.
And, one thing, and then a lot about creative entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And if you're a DJ or producer, any type of musician these days trying to make it, you have to have a brand.
Yep.
A lot of people have opinions on that one way or another. But what we talk about is like the grind of social media and having to create this brand and like do all these things in addition to making music. And so what I always tell them is, listen, like, do what's natural. Do what comes natural to you, because that's going to be a lot less difficult than trying to follow the latest trend on TikTok or, what trending sound is happening this week. Like, I really respect people who can do that because it's hard. I could never, maybe it's because I'm like I'm not an elder millennial, but like I'm older, but I like have no
Elder
interest.
millennial.
Yeah, I'm like there, like almost in your 30s. I have no interest in trying to keep up with all that.
For sure.
So I think that's why I tell people, just be yourself, because it might take a longer time to build an audience, but you're going to have longevity. Like, trends don't last. They're trends for a reason.
Yep. What lasts is the personality that remains the same.
Yep.
And a piece of advice that I give a lot of artists is that may not want to do TikTok, right? Let's just use that as an example. That's fine. I totally respect that. I kind of struggle with it. Like, it's not really where my fan base is. I'm lucky that Instagram has been a great place for me to grow. But you have to understand that you've got to find where your fans are and what platform do they live on, because that's the interesting thing about social media. YouTube is different than Twitter or X. TikTok is different than Facebook, right?
Yep.
But fan bases and fans and people live on all of those, right? We all have our favorite app. And even Snapchat, too. You've seen success with somebody like Dylan Francis, who really made that transition over to TikTok and Reels. And now they're all kind of one and the same. But even if you don't want to make content, well, how are you marketing your music then?
Right.
Right? Because you have to market yourself, which could be your music, however you want to do it.
Yeah. You have to. You have to play the game.
You do.
So do it in a way that's the least painful. that's what or hire help to do the rest. I mean,
that's true.
I hired help for my show. I have a fantastic social media manager who is Instagram gives me agita. Do you know that? Like, we say that's an Italian. It's a
agita.
Heartburn.
Yeah.
It gives me heartburn. I don't know why. It's just so stressful for me. And having her manage like the majority of posting my reels, like, has reduced so much stress. And I know that that's not necessarily feasible for everybody. Like, if you are, I'm investing more into a lot of my creative endeavors than I'm profiting at this point.
Yeah.
That is not feasible for everybody, but there are tools. There are other, there's so many automation tools out there for putting captions, for just even cutting clips. Like, so many things you can do you just got to do a little bit of research and set yourself up for success.
Absolutely. I'm going to get in this camera and actually tell people, make sure to rewind that, outsource people, help yourself.
Yes.
Seriously.
It's like, whether it's a robot, an AI robot, or a real human.
Dude, I started doing that for some of my reels. It saves money and it like improves efficiency. Like, AI has been going down.
Yeah.
and it's right in front of us.
Yeah. Oh, I use it for everything.
The
I
best.
couldn't do half of my work without AI and some.
Right?
It really, I mean, it makes me, people think that it's going to replace job, whatever. It has made me, it's given me the ability to focus on the high level shit that moves the needle.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about like the menial tasks of my different jobs.
Yeah.
Because that's been taken care of.
Yeah. And that's what really starts to become cumbersome. Like, I was doing the podcast, I think, up until episode 71, audio only, because I knew that the jump to video was going to be money, time, legwork, right? And like I said before we went online, I was doing a lot of video editing, so I know how to do it, right? I'm in Premiere, I'm editing these. The first time, I'm like, this is fun, this is great. But shit, it took me 2 or 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
I got a full-time job. I'm trying to produce this podcast. I'm a person. I'm trying to live my life.
Right.
And it became very stressful for me. And then I think by episode 80, I started outsourcing it to my current video editor who's based in South Africa. Her name is Suzette. I give her a shout out all the time.
That's awesome.
And we have this great relationship, and she makes my life so much easier.
That's fantastic. And it just, the quality of your product goes up too when you hire experts like to do like, and that's one thing, like, this is what I really love about the trend of like content and marketing now, is that we're going back to like specialists. I feel like in the corporate world, they're so focused on generalists, like, oh, you need someone to check these 500 boxes. Well, that's not how marketing works anymore.
Yeah.
And I love that there are like you can create a job for yourself that's, I just do XYZ and I do it really well.
Yep.
And when you find someone like that, it's like a total game changer.
Yes.
That's how I have a fantastic video editor too. And he is just like, once we got brought up to speed, we speak the same language now. It's just smooth sailing.
For sure. You
It's
can't
great.
do it on your own. You shouldn't have to. Like in the music world, I call it the music economy, contributing to the music economy. You as an artist can try and do it all, but those little molehills are going to feel like mountains, a lot of them. And a lot of the creative process will start to, because you're like, I don't even want to do this because I know what I have to do after this.
Right? Yeah, 100%. And you bog yourself down with all that BS that you could be outsourcing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for a lot of artists out there, they need to outsource content as much as they can.
Yep, because it's not going to go away.
Yeah, or even any creator, right? Like you're an amazing creator, and I love hearing that you are like just doing as much as you can to get off your plate within financial reason, and still focusing on your content and your product and making sure that like everybody in your team is on the same page with that.
Yeah, I mean, I want whoever is paying me, whether it's a brand that I'm doing a brand deal with or whatever, I want them to get the best of me.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get the best of me if I am spreading myself too thin.
Yeah, wow.
And it's a mindset shift
Yeah.
for creatives. One, because a lot of creative people want creative control over every aspect of their work. That's the first thing you have to let go of.
Yep.
You know, you're not going to find somebody who's going to do things exactly the way you would do them, but that's okay. If it's good enough or good in its own right, you have to just be okay with that.
Yeah.
And you also have to understand that, like, time is money, and you can't expend your energy on things that aren't going to move the needle. That's why I always talk about like how I think hustle culture is bullshit, because it's for me, it's I'm taking aligned action. I'm not hustling. I'm taking aligned action towards something, meaning I am taking action that is in alignment with the end goal, which is making an impact, making money, whatever it is. And the rest gets put on to somebody else. And then that person is also taking aligned action because they're a video editor and that's what they love to do.
Yeah.
Produce great video. But like I said, it's a mindset shift. You have to learn that you have to kind of step into that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard for people. I get it. Like they don't want to relinquish, you know, part of their end product.
Yeah, because especially as a creator, we're proud of it, right? Like, there's artists and there's entrepreneurs, and artists are people that see the project through, and then there are entrepreneurs that kind of bog down and muddy the waters for people that are like, oh, you just do this and you go on to the next thing, you do this and go on to the next thing. And that's kind of the world we live in too, with like just social media and our short attention spans, and it can be a lot.
It can be. There's a balance. I feel for DJs, producers, any type of artist right now, because I know you want to focus on your craft. Yeah. And you can't because all the time, because you have so many splintered focus issues of all this other stuff. But, you know, I mean, you can complain about it. It's not going to change anything. So find a way to make it work for you.
Yeah, for sure. And you've interviewed a lot of artists on a deep level, on a short-term level. First off, I want to give you mad props. I know I'm going to continue to give you mad props. You deserve it. But, like, I know you hustled to get that Insomniac opportunity. Your new podcast, Elevated Frequencies, is amazing. It's so different. And you really talk about the human aspect of being an artist rather than, like, the top-level stuff, which I kind of fallen into. Like, tell me about the inspiration behind this song. Like, and that's fine and that's fun to talk about. But, like, you're, like, getting into it, dude. Like, the real realities of being an artist and, like, separating from, like, well, I'm also a person too.
Thank you.
And how do they coincide and how do they, you know, cross over?
Well, first of all, there's a huge need for what you do, and I love that.
Yeah.
You being an artist yourself, you get to connect. Like,
For
that's
sure.
that's like therapy, I feel like, in a way. Just to like talk
is.
Both ways. Like, to just be able to riff on, like, the craft and like you're giving artists a platform to talk about a piece of art they created.
Yes.
And that's huge because that's not a thing really in our music industry. Like, you get that in pop, you get that in rock. You don't get that with electronic music, with house and techno. And so, like, you're giving them a great opportunity and you have a great audience. And for me, you know, I'm not a musician. I know what I love.
Yeah.
I think I have a good ear. Like, I really appreciate, like, I always tell my friends, like, come over so I can watch you DJ. Like, we have decks. Like, I will just sit there and watch you and just like be happy. Like, I can do that for hours.
That's awesome.
But I'm really interested, in getting to know, like, my whole reason for starting Elevated Frequencies was these artists that I value their work so much, and you know, going to their shows like makes my month, and hearing their new music makes my week.
Yeah.
I would love to get to know more about them, and the same way you're asking them questions, I feel like they don't get asked the type of questions I ask either.
It's a genuine curiosity. That's where it's coming from, for sure. I think you're definitely right on that aspect.
Yeah.
But what you're doing to me is different because, again, to go back into it, it's you. Like, you may not be an artist, but you also are a fan who wants to learn more about them and where they came from. And I think that's what happens for me, too. Like, you're right. What's different about us is we're not just the third-party journalist or interviewer that just has these questions that they don't know anything about the person. And they ask the questions and they move on. That's not fun for anybody.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I do try to keep a healthy level of curiosity. Like, I have my favorite artists, but even if I put one of my favorite artists on the show, I wouldn't know every single song. Yeah. I'm not pretending to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I keep a healthy level of curiosity because it's exciting to, like, learn things about artists that I never knew. And the best compliment I get is when they're like, wow, I can't believe you got that out of me. I don't even know. Like, I was in a trance. How did I end up saying that?
That is
I'm
the
like,
best.
Yeah, because that just means that they're opening up and they're comfortable, and, like, that's the best feeling in the world.
How do you do that? And I'm curious because I have my own strategies, especially producers, a lot of whom can be a little bit more distant. Their language is their music sometimes, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to name any names, but have you had any tough starts to an interview because, like, you need them to get comfortable, especially remotely?
Yes, remotely is really tough.
Yeah, it is.
It's a totally different game. And I've had tough starts, but not because the artist wasn't, like, they were hostile or anything. They're just shy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
so sweet. And, you know, like, this is kind of like a manipulative thing, but people are uncomfortable with silence and they will try to fill it. Okay.
Yes, they will.
And so that's something I've been doing since the, you know, olden days of when I was a reporter on, you know, for regular news. But other than that, just really, like, you have to give them the space to open up and not just, like, come in hot with, like, aggressive questions.
For sure.
You know, always make people feel good, but be genuine about it. Like, one of my favorite artists, and I can't believe I got to interview him, is Josh Butler. And I
saw that. It was a great interview.
He is shy and sweet, so sweet, like, unbelievably just, like, gentle soul. And, like, that was one of the only interviews, like, ever where I've, like, fangirled a little bit.
Hell yeah.
That I was like, oh my God, it's, like, coming out and I can't stop myself from saying this. And I think that actually helped him, like, open up, because I told him one of my favorite songs, or a couple of my favorite songs from him. He's like, really? You like that? He's like, I made that back in 2014 and it just got him thinking and talking. So, you know, you kind of, every situation is different.
Yeah.
But and if they don't open up, that's okay too. You have to have the professional know-how to kind of just keep the interview
For sure.
moving along.
Yeah.
And try to keep it as not awkward as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then how do you do it at a very high level quickly at a festival like EDC?
That was crazy. There's a lot. I think first of all, you're in person, and a lot of those artists just got off playing, like they just played their set, so they're like buzzing in a good mood.
For sure.
Which actually helped.
Yeah.
You know, I interviewed earlier in the day some of the artists that were like opening, and they've never been interviewed before. Like these are like very brand new artists. Right. And that was like, you know, I didn't really post that content. I sent it to them. I'm like, hey, like use this or whatever. But man, I think everybody, because you know they're primed by like the Insomniac team, like
for sure.
It's kind of like an agreement. Like I don't think most of them wanted to do the interview.
Yeah, of course.
They have to do it.
They have
like it's
to
like
do it.
You know, it's goodwill or whatever.
I like that Insomniac takes that initiative though.
Yeah,
the fans want to see that.
Yeah, they do. No, it was really cool. That was like a surreal opportunity, and you know, I think maybe I told you the story. I don't know.
No, tell the story. This is so Chicago of you, by the way. Fucking hustler.
Thank you. So I remember I was like on the treadmill one day, and I was watching an interview with a Boris Brejcha, and it was like in German. And I'm watching the
You were watching with English subtitles?
Yeah, of course.
This is what you do on the treadmill?
Yes, I do. It is actually 100%.
That is distracting.
That or watching Real Housewives, one or the other.
Wow, classy lady.
Yeah, very. And so I was watching, and I texted my husband. I was like, hey, listen, I want to be an interviewer for Insomniac. I don't even fucking know if that's a thing, but I'm going to find out. Mm-hmm. And so I like sat on it for a couple days, marinated on it, started journaling about it. Nice. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to put together a audition tape. And I basically said in this audition tape, hey, my name's Olivia. Like, just humor me for 1 minute here, and I promise you can get back to your day. Mm-hmm. Here's my credentials. I was a TV news reporter. I like house and techno. You should hire me. Fuck yeah. In a nutshell. And I showed like all this, you know, footage of, you know, me and my reporter days, just kind of show him like I'm not some weirdo. And I sent him an email, and I talk about like the art of a good email a lot on my show and just in general. Yep. And the email subject line said, open to this, ? Ooh. And
ooh, that's good.
I sent it at like 8:50 a.m. on a Monday, and they got back to me like an hour later. Oh. And I was like, I almost fell to the floor. It was so cool. It was so cool. And I was like, I can't believe this worked. And they're like, actually, yeah, we were talking about hiring somebody. So like, we're going to put you in touch. And then it just snowballed from there.
That's awesome.
I mean, just like go, like people are worried about like, oh, you know, I'm going to spend all this time putting something together, a good pitch, and then it doesn't. But you sharpen your skills every time you do that. Yes. I've sent other videos like that. Like I just sent one to Beatport.
Fuck yeah.
And it's unlisted on YouTube, and it has 10 views. So I know somebody's looked at it. They haven't gotten back to me, and that's fine. Yeah. But it sharpens your skills. So like you just got to go for shit, you know?
Well, you're selling yourself too. And I love that, by the way. That's so fucking dope. And I did the same damn thing with the Amsterdam Dance Event.
I was going to say, I was looking at your page today. That is so cool. Panels.
Yeah, dude.
That's where it's at.
That is where it's at. They're so much fun.
That's
where I thrive, too. Like, I love that. Like, if I can have the conversation with people and then look out on the crowd and like, because it's a little bit of everything I love. Like I mentioned, stand-up comedy. I can't do stand-up comedy, but I can certainly entertain a crowd with a mic, and I love that. That's where I get energy. And I went to ADE last year, and I'd always wanted to go because it's like very business oriented.
Right.
I mean, it's so cool. You would love it.
It's on my bucket. My brother and I just did like a joint episode. It's coming out on Thursday, and we talked about why isn't there one besides WMC in America?
Well, dude, you know WMC like barely has it together.
I know.
They were supposed to have it the past 2 years,
and it has. They're saying it's gonna. It is so needed. We talk about this in my episode. Yep. All the networking here in the United States happens backstage of festivals, and that creates
and it's
silos.
Like the worst type of networking too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, so who do you know? Unless you're standing next to someone that they know, it's like,
oh my God, everybody's
the worst.
A jerk.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't do it online because they look at your follower count and who follows you. So there is no purposeful place where you can say, we are all here for business and we are all open to networking and getting to know each other. Not saying like you got to sign a deal on the spot, but it also brings in professionals like you, like me, people who want to be managers or agents. Like, why do we not have
lawyers, publishers, distributors?
Exactly.
It's
and it
all sides of the
blows my
business.
mind that we don't have it yet here.
Dude, I honestly, coming back from that and thinking about how valuable it is, like I thought about maybe just trying something small in Chicago. We could talk about that more.
We should, because I would be
it would be pretty easy. Like, I mean, organizing it would be a lot of work, obviously, but I think there's a demand for it. And like
100%.
If you think about what's going on with like ARC too, like how it's bringing in a big international audience.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that weekend, but there's a demand for it.
100%.
And everybody wants to make it in America, dude.
Yeah, and what better place to do it than the home of house?
Straight up.
I'm getting chills because I'm
That's
just
what
thinking
I
about
Olivia,
it.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, they just think about how many doors that could open for people.
So many.
Because you really nobody wants to
too,
network.
Man, it's a good idea.
It really is.
It is a good idea.
I mean, that's how you like democratize it too.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to network in a club, and if you're not at somebody's table, you're not on stage with the DJ. Like I said, nobody's gonna bat an eye at you.
No, and that's why, dude, I started this podcast because I thought that that's how you network. I thought that you go up to the DJ while they're fucking DJing and be like, "Hey, what up? I want to DJ." You know, it's like that's not how it goes. In fact, that's the worst way to go about it. And I was like, you know what? I always want to start a podcast. I'm just going to start interviewing people in Chicago. And I made a lot of great friendships and relationships and connections. And fuck, I've almost interviewed everybody in Chicago, you know?
Yeah.
And it's been so rewarding for me. And then when you go to a place like Amsterdam Dance Event, it's almost like a constant podcast interview, but it's really fun because everyone is open to networking.
That's the big thing.
There was hardly any red tape, like especially at the actual conference. I mean, what really I thought was amazing was the fact that they always leave room for Q&A, right?
That's great.
So the first panel that I went to was called How to Make It in America. And it had this guy, Ben Spritz, who's like a big agent at Wasserman. He represents like Green Velvet and Azeka and Gorgon City and like really big house artists, right? An international guy who lives in Nashville, and then two like people in publishing, and then another guy who was like a manager as well, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, well, how do we make it in America? Like straight up, you know, like what's different about it? Like what's going on in the house music scene? And that was the whole talk of AD last year. Wow. And I told them, like, I was trying to network with people at AD because like I was like, I said to my buddy, I was like, I'm going to do this one day.
Yeah.
And he was like, you will, for sure. Because I was asking fucking questions every single time. Every panel, every guest. I asked Hardwell 2 questions because people didn't know what to ask.
Right.
And I was
you're like ready.
I'm like, hey, Hardwell. And I was like, he was like, hello. And I was like,
doesn't it kind of stun you for, that's how I felt doing the Insomniac thing, interviewing some artists. I was like, out of body experience. I'm like watching myself. I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
But that's so cool. Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's like,
and they found value in it too.
Yeah.
They were like, no, we get it. Cause like, that makes
amazing.
Sense. And it was the panel was the U.S. and tech house, the U.S. tech house and house scene. What's in it for you? Yeah. Right. So it's a good subject line for an email. Yeah. And that is. They put us in like the top floor in a room that could hold like maybe like 40 or 50 people, and it was like fucking packed. And there was a line to talk to us afterwards.
I got chills again.
Great questions.
I'm so lame. Like that kind of stuff gives me chills because it's amazing. So exciting.
It was so exciting.
That is where stuff happens.
Absolutely.
Like those are the places, and like harping on it, but everyone's open to it and learning. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times I've met somebody out like at a party scene or at a festival, and they're like, they get my info and they're like, I want to talk to you about doing, XYZ. And I know, I'm like, this isn't going to happen. I don't even like, I just give them my card and be like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah.
I know you got cards.
I have cards.
I got cards.
Yeah.
Let's exchange cards.
Yeah, we should. I spent a lot of money on these. It's like my logo. It's like my logo, and they're die cut, which means like, so my logo is like the 2 records with like the I in the middle.
Yep.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, I spent a lot of money on them, so yeah. But I know they
you need to put them to good use.
They go in the washing machine, I'm sure. Every time I hand one out at the club, but it's fine. It's fine. It's
that's okay.
It's part of the game.
It is part of the game. Wow, good. Nice to meet another person with business cards.
I know. We might be the only 2 people left.
Damn near, yeah, but that's how you do it. They're still a thing for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I went to the Rituals Halloween party
Nice.
last weekend.
Always the
props
best.
to them. They're just...
Is it still at Garfield Park Conservatory?
No, they had it at Epiphany Church.
Oh!
Which was super cool here in the West Loop.
Holy shit.
Super cool event.
Wow.
And so I was a pirate.
Nice.
Cop. I have a broken toe right now.
You?
So I do. And so I was like, it's funny because it's like a peg leg or whatever. And then I also had a sty last week. Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
suck.
So like I actually wore an eye patch because it was like perfect. Like sty, peg leg.
Great
Besides
job.
the point, I had these little coins made with my logo on it because I'm extra. And I forgot that I had them. And my husband, Freddie, just started throwing them around the place. He's like, hopefully people pick these up, you know? So you gotta it's guerrilla marketing, I guess.
I love that.
Gotta do what you can.
Hustler. Hey, shout out to your hubby, too. Fred's the man.
He really is.
Thanks for that appetizer and free drink, man.
He makes me look better because he's so nice, you know?
How did you guys meet?
Bumble.
Did you?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how many people have actually met and
I
then
know.
got married?
I know. Is that how you met your wife too?
No, I met my wife in high school, actually.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cute.
yeah.
That's old school.
But I have a lot of friends that met their wives or partners on Tinder and Bumble.
Yeah. Well, I was living in South Florida at the time.
Okay.
In Naples. That's where I was reporting out there, and he was the only guy in Bumble that wasn't holding a fish up in his profile picture. So I knew automatically. I was like, this guy's not from here, so I will pick.
He's not from here, yeah.
Yeah. So that looks like a good match for me. And he's from New York, but he was living there, like cooking. He was a chef, and he was doing 6 months there and 6 months in New York. So,
Okay.
yeah, I wasn't into the whole
Wow.
fish in the profile picture thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It
Gosh.
is.
And then, so you met him in Florida, and then you guys lived in New York together?
No, we moved here. I mean,
Okay.
I would have loved to live in New York, but
Yeah. I
if
feel like
you
you'd
put,
kill it there.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's definitely like that's my pace. I would love to be out there.
It's a great
but
city,
it's
man.
It's so expensive.
I know, it's hard to live there.
Well-
You earn it.
You really do, and like you have to deal with a lot. Like we have worse winters technically, but like
The
it's tough.
fucking Manhattan flooded how many weeks ago?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Right, they
They just
definitely are
keep
more
going.
prone to natural disasters.
They really are.
Yeah.
It
You're-
literally could be on fire and people would still be like, all right, I got to get a cab. I got to head down to Brooklyn
know.
right now. It's
I
like,
know.
dude.
And that's too much.
Yeah.
That's pushing it, but I do love it.
I had hoop dreams of living there. My dad was born in Queens and my aunt and uncle lived
Oh,
on
really?
the Upper West Side for 40 years. My cousin lived there for a long time.
No kidding.
Yeah, I love New York. I've been there
Yeah.
like 15 times.
Yeah. Freddie was born in Queens too.
Really?
Yeah.
Bayside? Where at?
Oh God, we've been married for 4 years and I can't remember.
That's okay. It's a little confusing, honestly.
I forget, but he has Queens tattooed like right here, like on his
Does
leg.
he?
Yeah, he got it when he was like 16. And when we first started dating, we've been dating for 6 years, or together for 6 years, married for 4.
Okay.
Took him to his first ever drag show, and he was wearing shorts, and they got pulled up a little bit. We were sitting in the front row, and this drag queen was like, Queens. She's like,
Yeah.
you're a huge supporter, aren't you? And he was so confused, and he got pulled up on stage, and I loved every minute of it.
Oh my god.
He was into it.
Core
He's good.
memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
How early on in the relationship was that?
Couple months. He was
Perfect.
into it though.
Yeah.
Now he's been to plenty of drag shows.
Drag
with me.
shows are so much fun.
So they're a blast.
And
especially
it's
when they're
really
great
fun when one of your friend
performers.
hasn't been and they're uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, that's why I did it.
Yeah, for
He's-
sure. And you're
but
like,
he
let's
had-
break out of that shell, man.
Yeah, it was perfect. He'll like do anything though. Like I said, like Freddie's just a good time guy.
Well, you guys like love. Your relationship seems so special to me because you're both like really hard workers individually, but it looks like you guys like have a lot of the same interests in regards to like going out and letting loose and musically.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's special for a partner, right?
I think. Before I say this, so does your wife? Is she into the music?
She loves it, but she doesn't like going out to the clubs and shit.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm definitely like aging out. I don't want to say aging out, but it's
Yeah.
becoming more like laborious to
Yeah,
go.
right.
But I think that when you love this music, like you have to find a partner that loves this music too.
You definitely do.
Because it's so different. Like I don't want to sound like
whole world,
some
man.
like, like hipster or whatever, but it's just like it's special. Like it's a special type of
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
And there's so much of it to explore, and like his taste and my taste have grown together.
Great.
Like it's interesting, like
Yeah.
we go through all these phases, and some stuff that we liked like 5 years ago, I'm like, oh, that's not really our vibe anymore, you know?
Right.
And you grow. I mean, that's why I love this music, because there's so much to explore.
Yeah, there's always another layer.
Yeah. And
Another
you'll like
subgenre.
it's more difficult for you doing your podcast in person.
Yeah.
Because people have to be here, but like I'll never run out of guests being virtual, you know.
Oh, I've done the remote thing. I just did a remote interview last week.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. So like we'll never
enjoy
run out
them.
of guests because there's so
No, I'll never
like,
run out of
and this
guests.
is not a criticism. Like
Yeah.
I love how many artists there are. Like
Yeah, for sure.
I know that's tough as an artist. You have a lot of competition, but for me as the consumer, I'm like, give me everybody.
Yeah, it'll never end.
Yeah,
There's always more entering the market too.
I know.
Something like 40,000 songs get uploaded to Spotify every day.
Somebody else just told me that.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
It's pretty nuts, and that just goes back into like so much of being an artist these days, especially producer, is like it's so daunting. Because there's actually really truly talented people out there that don't know how to market themselves, and then there's really truly untalented people that are very good at marketing themselves.
Yeah,
And I
or
think
have
that's
the
why
resources.
someone like your brother who's like a really fucking good producer, really fucking good, and I mean that generally, like he is, you know what I mean? And like one of my friends, I consider him to be the most talented musician I know. He's the greatest piano player, right? But he's a lawyer. He was like, I don't want to get into music, man, but like I love it. I played on my own. And another one of my friends, he's a great guitarist and vocalist, and like he just is like, it's just too much, you know. I just enjoy the music for the music. And then there's people like me that I'm like, well, you should make something out of it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's hard for both parties to understand.
It is, and also monetizing an art form.
Yeah.
Is difficult, and it also like there's a lot of cognitive dissonance. Like I always tell artists, and this is the advice I take myself, like have a creative hobby that you don't monetize.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of creating.
I agree with that.
I have like I'm a big like crafter.
Nice.
Like I just crafts like I just picked up like making like preserved moss art. Okay. That's like weird. What else do? I do a lot of flower arrangements, which is a very expensive hobby, but fun.
Okay.
Especially because like they die, like you know,
that's sad. Yeah.
But you know, just something that you can like pour your creative energy into, but there's no pressure of like making it into something, you know.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I just had this kind of similar conversation with our friends from Boston this week. They have their jobs, and we were just kind of talking about like TV shows and things like that. And they were like, they asked me like, sure, I'm like, what do you do on a weekday, on a Wednesday? I'm like, one of like 60 things, you know what I mean?
Logistics.
And, I work logistics all day. I come home. I work on music. I have the podcast. I prepare for a show. Like, that was like
everything's work. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and you're kind of like making me realize like, now I do take time for myself, and that's important. And I've made that a big thing. But like, yeah, I mean, I think that's why I got into music in the first place, because I really just enjoyed it, you know, like it was a creative passion for me, and I got to like, music is like what makes me happy.
Totally.
Like at my core, all types of music. And I love, you know, you can catch me at a Dave Matthews concert. You can catch me at Travis Scott in the GA. You could catch me at Front Row at Spy Bar for Josh Butler, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like all of those experiences. And so I actually think like going to shows, I try to get back into it.
Right.
Just enjoying it as a fan.
Totally.
It is a creative release for me, because I do get to go, and I used to be kind of like, I don't need to be at a show unless I'm furthering my brand or some shit. I stopped taking myself too seriously.
That's a big one.
You know?
Yeah.
So just going out and enjoying the fact that I live in Chicago and appreciating that, like all the amazing music that comes through here, that's not necessarily just dance music.
Right. No, like
You know what I mean?
anything.
Yeah.
I love going to blues clubs.
Yep.
Big
Me
blues
too.
family,
I love blues clubs.
Blues Chicago, Kingston Mines,
Hell
Taylor
yeah.
Street Tap.
Blues is amazing.
That's like a really nice palate cleanser, you know?
Yeah,
like
it
when you've had
is.
too much dance music, you know, I love doing that.
Yeah.
But that's like, so, you know this better than I do, growing your podcast. It takes time, and growing your brand takes time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like, I don't know, it can get stressful, and like you can get discouraged easily.
Oh, for sure.
And so you just got to keep going. And
Yep.
one thing, so I'm like a big vision boarder. I like to vision board, and
Crafty.
they're always crafty. And I do them like quarterly. I do them every 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
And like they always have like career oriented stuff on it. And
Yeah.
I decided the last time I did it, I said, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing everything I'm doing, but I'm not going to like actively seek out growth opportunities.
Yeah.
I am going to use this time to read books, rest, do other creative things. And I read like 10 or 12 books in like 3 months.
Good for you.
Fun books, not
Okay.
like personal development, not like
You
anything
don't strike
career
me as a
related.
World
just,
War II novelist.
no, like fun, like whatever, like stuff about plants and like.
Yeah.
I read this book on like Italian witchcraft, like
Fuck
just,
yeah.
just like fun shit. And
That was fact or fiction right there. That was real.
Italian, what the
The
Italian?
Italian witchcraft?
Yeah, very facts.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to read it.
I'll give it to you. It's great.
When
There's
we
some
exchange
great.
cards, I'll take it.
Okay, perfect. There's some great spells in there and all different sorts of fun stuff you can do with herbs.
Is that how you got Fred?
Yes.
You
No.
read this book a long time ago.
No, definitely not. No, that was easy. I didn't need to do anything.
Oh hell yeah, nice.
Girls probably held up fishes in their profile. Fishes.
He was like,
Fish.
thank God.
Fish. That I sounded
Fish.
fish. Yeah, fishies.
Fishies.
Yeah, fishies.
Yeah, it can't be
Yeah.
plural fishies.
No fishies in my profile picture. No, but like, I just needed to take time to just chill and not.
Yeah, dude.
Not because you can get so focused on it that you're like, like it's just I don't know. It's all consuming, and
Yeah.
there's other things to tend to: dogs, relationships.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
Things
get
that make you
lost in
whole.
it. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Things that make you whole. Like I work very hard in a lot of aspects of my life, and I hold myself to a higher standard, and that can be a good thing, and that can also be a bad thing because, man, I have those days where I read a little bit, I exercised, I got some air, I didn't look at fucking Instagram, or I didn't really look at a screen too much, and I can just feel clarity in my brain.
Yes.
You know?
It's so fulfilling, like
It really
analog
is.
fun. One big thing that changed my life, and like I tell people to do this all the time, is don't look at your phone for an hour when you wake up.
Yes.
I put my phone on Do Not Disturb before I go to bed, and I
Yep.
am not looking at it
Yep.
for an hour. Even if that means you have to wake up earlier, just do it. And I have like my little morning routine of like watering my plants, or like
Yeah.
I'll save like a chore from the night before and just do that. Like
Yep.
something that's like low dopamine and like eases me into the day.
Yes.
It's so important because when you're looking at a screen all day, like
bad
you
for
don't
you.
realize how much that stresses you out.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too. I look at 3 screens by 7:30 a.m. usually, and I'm multitasking with my phone and my laptop,
Yep.
and I'll take an hour off to go on a walk or work out or something, and then I'm right back to it, and then I'm back home and I'm on a call, or I'm looking at a computer, I'm looking at a fucking CDJ screen. Doesn't matter what the screen
Yeah,
is. My
you're
life
right.
is screens, dude.
That's a lot of screens.
It's a lot of screens, and I love hiking and backpacking, and that's something that I really want to make sure that I'm like doing for myself.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
awesome.
Yeah,
There's
so-
so much. And like you will find that when you step away and do activities like that, whether it's hiking, crafting, there's like problem solving in that. You're going to get personal development benefit out of
Yes.
doing something that's not like consuming like, like
Yes.
hustle culture content or whatever.
my
Like
God.
like you will find life lessons in hiking. Like there's problem solving, there's
Absolutely.
challenges, physical, mental,
Yeah.
like figuring out where to go. Like
It's not necessarily
huge.
relaxing, to be honest.
No, it's not, but it's engaging and it keeps you
disconnect.
sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it really like it's I'm scared, like I sound old saying this too, but like I'm scared for like young people who
Me too.
we're the same age, like we were the last generation to at least grow up half our lives without. I didn't have a cell phone
Me too.
till high school, and I wasn't allowed to use it unless it was to call my parents because that shit was expensive.
Yeah, that's
You know?
true. I talked to somebody recently about that as well, where it was like when text messaging came around.
Yeah.
And my mom, like after the first 3 months or something, she was like, Matt, you've sent 2,000 text messages.
Oh, my
Your
God.
brother has sent 200. I've sent 50. Your dad has sent 2.
Yeah,
Who
right.
are you texting?
Oh, my God, you sound
I'm
like my mom.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, like, I'm texting my friends. This is
Right.
what we do.
Right. I know it's so funny but
That was the beginning of it,
that was
though.
it. I know. And now think about how many you send a day.
Oh,
Like I don't even want to think about it. But
yeah,
like
it's crazy.
I remember like when we had the phones, it was like free after 9 or whatever. Like that's when we could use it. And the computer
Yeah.
that was in the basement, you had to run the thing, the
dial-
Ethernet, to
yeah.
all the way upstairs. Like it was a task. So you really had to
was.
make sure that like this is what you wanted to do. And
It's like smoking a cigarette versus a Juul, man. Like one of them you really got to work hard to do. The other one, I can just do it wherever the fuck I am.
that's hilarious. You smoke a Juul?
No, fuck no.
Oh,
I don't
good.
do either of them.
I
But I
used
feel
to
like if
smoke
people are going to
cigarettes.
smoke a fucking Juul, they might as well smoke a goddamn cigarette, honestly. I
Yeah,
don't know what's
facts.
worse for you.
They're both. I used to smoke cigarettes in college. I quit in 2014.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I
quit.
had a little cigarette phase, too.
Yeah, we all. I think
You just kind of smoke cigs.
it was fun.
Yeah,
It was fun.
It's fun, yeah.
It was a good time, and you know, I missed the Juul phase, thank God, because that's what everybody said, like, oh, this will help me like
Dude, they
quit
just
smoking.
So many bad things are in their lives.
I know.
My brother's only 3 years younger than me, and he feels like he's from a different world sometimes.
Yeah.
Truly.
I mean, we did have like Four Loko. Like, let's not
Yeah,
forget.
that
Like,
shit.
we definitely had some things that were not so health conscious.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are from a different, like, it is a different world, truly, because it's like when you've seen the videos where it's like, you ask the kid, how do you hold up a phone? And they're like this.
Yeah, right.
We do this.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I
And
know.
it's just like things like that really are
Yeah.
a big difference.
I know. It's really crazy, and like, not to like, I don't want to dunk on like Gen Z or anything, because
Yeah.
like this problem is across the board. Like,
They love millennials.
I was
though.
they love them.
They love millennials, Gen Z.
Really? That's
Yeah.
your perception? I feel like they hate us, but I think
They think we're like cute or something.
well, yeah, but like in a patronizing way.
That's true.
Which all young people do. But like, so I was at this cool show on Sunday called Teatro Zinzani.
Okay.
It's a musical. So it's like cabaret, comedy, aerial acts.
Really good.
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And like, it was our anniversary, so they upgraded us. We're sitting right in the front. And
Nice.
there was other tables around me of like people older than us even.
Yeah.
Texting the
Oh
whole
my
time.
God.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Like they allowed phones and photography and stuff. So
Sure.
like, but I'm like, there's some, first of all, I know how much the front row tickets cost because I didn't buy them. And you know, they were like $300 a pop or something. And it's like, you paid $300 to sit here on your phone. What is wrong with you? And like,
Yeah.
I tweeted something about this, and Lucati, who we've become friends now just through, I'm actually interviewing his brother Dateless tomorrow.
His brother is dateless?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're both
They're
like,
really fucking good producers.
they're such good producers, and they love to stir the pot on Twitter. So like,
Yeah, they do.
Great guests.
Oh, Lucati's the king of shit talk on Twitter.
He is. And so he's retweeted me a couple times and added commentary. He's like, we're fans of each other. Like,
Of
we
course.
really like get each other. And he retweeted me because I wish I could pull it up. It was basically like something about like, if I don't want to be around people, like if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. Like, I don't want to be around
Yeah.
people who are fans of house music because they heard a song on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And I like talked about how like I'll see people out and they're like on their phones, and then they
Yeah.
hear one song they recognize, right? Like 30 seconds of a drop, and then they're back to like not having fun. And I said it more succinctly than that.
Yeah.
But Lucati retweeted me, and people were ripping. I mean, that's what happens on Twitter though.
Yeah,
like
that's what
you
happens
get
on
and
Twitter.
but like also people like in support or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it turned into a freaking copy pasta on EDM Chicago. And I'm like, God damn it, Lucati, look what you did. Like, I wasn't ready for this level of stardom.
You spoke the truth
But
is what you
it
did.
really, like, I'm noticing going out,
Yeah.
there are people there who are just on their phones,
Because that's what they know.
not right. And that's, like, as much as I want this genre to grow and become mainstream and have, like, relevancy and, like, credibility amongst the whole music community at large,
Yeah.
this is what happens when you let in the casual fans.
Yep.
It's okay to be a casual fan if you're present, but if you're
Yeah.
going to shows and taking up space on standing on your phone, like, I want to donkey kick you off the dance floor.
Dude, I see tweets about that all the time. Like, Nostalgics just tweeted about that. Like, if you're going to be front row and just stare and not dance, like, get the fuck out of the
it's
crowd.
creepy. How is you as a DJ? Like, how would
Oh,
you
it's
like
happened to
that?
me
Like,
so many times. I'm like,
weird.
I'm like, dude, I know I'm playing a good set right now. Some people are vibing, and you just see people like they just don't know how to dance. I
Right.
feel like, or they are just not there. They're on their phones, or it is, and that's kind of the concerning aspect of it all. Is we're getting older, they're getting younger. Almost, it seems like, right? So it's like is there an overlap? How do we educate? How can they learn from us and we learn from them maybe in some ways?
Yeah,
just to be
I don't want to
collaborative
be
about
like,
it.
I hate the whole like old head mentality where like
Yeah,
everything
the
was
elitist
better
shit
back in
is
my
frustrating,
so
yeah.
stupid, and
Yeah.
it's like so toxic. But the club is a place for a lot of people to release from the hard week they've had.
Yep.
It's a place like literally dance and movement is therapy. Like it's been
Absolutely.
proven to like help, with, mood boosting, whatever.
Yep.
It's a safe place for a lot of people. Like what I love so much about like Spy Bar in particular is you see all different types of people there. I had that picture too.
You got it during lockdown too.
Oh no, I printed it out,
You did.
framed it, posted it on my Instagram story, tagged Spy Bar, and then coincidentally they were selling it a couple weeks later.
Oh my god, that's
just saying. But
that's pretty funny.
I have the receipts to prove it. But anyways, I love Spy Bar. I've been going there for a very long time.
Me too.
And you see people of all walks of life there.
You really do.
In harmony, no weird shit. It's not like going to like a top 40 club where it's like
it does keep out the TikTokers, so to speak.
it does for the most part, and like that is the place where everybody can be themselves and not worry about like there's all this discourse on TikTok about why isn't the club the same anymore. It's like, well, everyone's recording you and you have to have a table, and if you don't, you're not cool. Who gets a fucking table at a Spy Bar? I mean, sometimes I do, but like
to dance.
So you have more
room because it's packed.
That's like the main reason. It's not
we're older,
to like
we can afford it actually.
Yeah.
It's not our parents' money.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, yeah, Spy Bar has raised the prices of their bottles, though, I will say.
raised the
And as
prices.
somebody who doesn't really drink, like that's a bummer because I
Yeah.
used to just pay. I was like, I'll pay just for the seat. Like I don't care,
Yeah.
I'm getting old. I need to take a load off
For
sometimes.
sure, I
but,
respect that.
But yeah, I mean that's why I love this type of music because it really, it's a healing place. But let's, like you said, find a way to educate without patronizing them or like whatever. Like,
for sure.
Show them the way a little bit, guide them.
Yeah, I know, and it's tough to do because it's hard to connect sometimes with the younger generation. We were talking about on the panel in Amsterdam, dance event, like how do you actually make it in America? And I'm like, you really got to look at who is doing well with the younger market right now, right? Like who's going on college tours? Who's like selling hard tickets?
Yes.
What are they doing that's working? And unfortunately, a lot of that does have to do with their marketing through these social media platforms. But their music is very good. You look at somebody like Disco Lines, 80% branding, 20% music, but that music is really good. So he's an A+ artist.
Right, he can back it up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I will say, like, I saw some interesting discourse the other day about like finding that audience that is going to be obsessed with you, just not necessarily in music, but in general.
Yeah.
And this person that I follow on TikTok made a great point that yes, it's great to have a young audience and it's important,
Sure.
but you also want an audience that can buy your shit and can afford it.
That is a really good point,
So
too.
don't rule them out either, because you might have raving fans in clubs it doesn't really apply because you technically have to be 21.
Yeah.
But you can have raving fans with the college students or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as they can buy your stuff. The thing about us, like we're in like that primo,
For sure.
like the 30-year-olds, like we finally got some fucking money now,
Yes.
Like, so make sure you're not counting us out. Like don't disenfranchise the people who can afford to travel to see you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Completely
Like
agree.
that's one of the coolest things now about like, being established and getting some goddamn respect as a 30-something-year-old and getting paid like what we're worth. Like I can say like, hey babe, like to my husband, do you want to like go see this show in Brooklyn next weekend? Like, or just take a quick flight, like. So you gotta like pay attention to us too. It's both,
Absolutely.
Which is not like an easy answer, but like
No, there's not an easy answer. And what is interesting about our generation actually is we are having kids a lot later, not having kids,
right?
Moving around a decent amount.
Yep.
I don't want to say that we got hit the hardest by lockdown. That's not what I mean. I just mean that we were very social people. Then we were held back.
Right.
And now we're like, fucking let it out. Like, I'm just going to live my life to the absolute fullest.
Totally.
And I can only speak for myself and all my friends.
Well, people who are into dance music too, like in general, we're out here.
That
like
sucked.
we're trying to, we're trying to.
We're out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely have pulled back. I can't. I can't tell you how many shows that I've been to this past year where I couldn't even stay up for the headliner, which is just sad. Like, I'm so disappointed in myself. But I'm on like this major campaign for more daytime events in Chicago.
Yeah, dude, I love it. And I love that you talk about mocktails. My wife loves mocktails too.
Mocktails are everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Do you use marijuana? You THC at all?
Yes, but like I'm such a lightweight, so
Yeah, that's
sparingly.
fair. But I'd like to see that type of shit.
Yes. I mean, I went on like that rant the other day about clubs carrying like canned mocktails because it's literally like something that someone's like, well, just get like a virgin, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get a bunch of juices or have the bartender make that.
Also,
like,
I don't want a fucking Sprite.
Yeah, exactly. And so they sell so many canned mocktails now, or even like low alcohol.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen, like eventually, especially because it's accessible now with the can. You just open it. I don't care. Charge me $12 fucking. I don't care. You got me there. I want
it's 18
something.
for an actual cocktail, so you're saving some money.
But I like, everyone's like, no, I don't want to be charged that much. I actually don't care. I just want something to have. Like Arbella, you love Arbella too, right?
Of course.
One of my favorite places, their mocktails are so good.
Yeah, they are.
They're like so tasty, and they don't taste like just a bunch of sugar water. Like they do interesting things.
Yep.
You know, it's great to wake up feeling not hungover, but I will say, like, it's harder to stay out late.
Yeah,
so
it is.
that's why I'm like on this personal,
Oh, I'm right there with you, dude, because we got a job to go back to Monday.
Right. And so if you have an event that ends at like 5 or 6 p.m., day party, like that's so much fun.
Funky brunch, weren't you just there recently?
I was, yeah.
That's like
it's
the
a
ideal
blast.
event, isn't it?
You can let loose and know that, hey, like I'm still gonna make it home in time for dinner, wind down
for
with my
sure.
show.
There's nothing better than that.
Nothing. In bed, you feel like you cheated the system.
You do.
Like, it really is.
My friend, Max Wagner, you heard of him?
I think
he started this new thing called Dusk Dance Music.
Okay.
And the events start at 5 p.m. and I think they end at 9 or 10.
Wow.
Or he even does earlier if he can. It just depends on the time of year.
That's here in Chicago?
In Chicago. Yeah, I'll connect you guys.
Absolutely.
He's in the same boat as you. And I can't tell you how many more people want to come. You know this. Come to events that are during the day because it's like, I mean, that's the same thing with my wife. She was like, dude, like, what time do you go on? I'm like, 1:30. And
That's
she's like,
insane.
I can't do that. Like,
No.
What time are you going to get there? I'll be like, well, I got to be there at 10.
Yeah.
She's like, so what the fuck am I supposed to do?
And that's like right.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You're
know.
right. Yeah.
That's the worst part of it because if you go early, you're kind of just like standing there and you're like, oh my God, it's taking.
Especially if you're not getting fucked up. She's on your boat, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing, like you really are just waiting and watching everybody else get fucked up, which is not fun. And then the alternative is you stay at home until the last minute, but then you're like, oh my God, I'm home. I'm in my, what I mean?
Yeah, no
like,
way.
That's not good either.
You are stuck there, aren't you?
Yep.
It's like, I got to get there or I'm not going to go. And if I wait, then I'm definitely not going to go.
I mean, I literally, we had tickets to like the Carl Cox presents thing at Oris, and it was cool because, well, it wasn't cool that I broke my toe, but like.
That's where you broke it?
No, a couple days before. And so I got to go into the, ADA section.
Nice.
I'm sitting. I'm like,
you
this
were
is
sitting?
Great. Yeah, it was great.
Oh,
well,
that's
I had
luxury,
to. I
baby.
had to, yeah. Oh, I'm a big advocate for seats. More seats. But we saw like Josh Wink, which was dope.
Yeah, he's the man.
And then we left.
You're good.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm sitting, relaxing, and I still cannot stay up this late.
Yeah. How late was it?
We left at like 11:45, I think.
Well, you would be in bed by 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice. But I mean, it's like I'm buying all these tickets and then kind of throwing money away. It's not throwing money away because I still love seeing like opening and direct support. But
I totally
I'm not,
understand.
I'm not seeing. So I have to be real with myself. Like, I'm supposed to go to Ben Sterling this Friday. He was one of my favorite artists I interviewed at EDC.
Is he at Spy?
He's at Spy.
Yeah. Well, he's going on at 1:30.
I know.
He's going to go off at 3:30 a.m.
I'm going to try my best.
Good luck.
I'm really going to try my best.
So are you sober?
No, low alcohol.
Low alcohol.
Call it, yeah.
I like that.
So,
what does that mean exactly?
It means something different for everyone, right? Like,
Sure.
you could be like, oh, I used to drink 16 drinks a week, and now I'm 8. I'm low alcohol. So it's subjective, but I would say I have, like, I say I have 2 to 4 drinks a month max.
Okay.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then sometimes I take, like, longer breaks just for, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a game changer. Like,
good for you.
My life has changed. And I really love like craft cocktails and I really love good wine. So that's what I save it for.
So it's not that you don't like alcohol. It's just the effects of it and the aftermath, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah. Even if you don't get drunk or you don't even get tipsy, there are still after, there's
for sure.
there's effects. It affects your mood. It makes you more
poison.
irritable. It is. It gives you anxiety. You don't even realize. Was it worth it?
I don't know. It tastes good, I guess.
So that was like kind of the thing for me. I'm like, is it worth it? Is this something I really, really enjoy? Yeah. And I also don't hold myself to a crazy standard. Like we did a month-long Euro trip in February, and we were in Sicily and Venice, and I wasn't. And some days I didn't.
Yeah.
It's just taking a mindful approach.
Yeah.
And the more places that have mocktails, the better, because then I'm still like I feel connected.
Yeah.
I'm part of the group, but I don't have to.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a movement about that, man. I mean, Jake Shore told me about this thing called Sober Curious.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, very similar. We're like,
yeah.
I think a lot of people really don't want to drink, but I just listened to a podcast. You heard of Dax Shepard, armchair expert?
Yeah.
So he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And he was actually interviewing the Chainsmokers, and he was like, how much partying do you guys do? Like, it must be really tough. Like, when I quit, it took me 2 years to really get past that point because he was always within like 50 feet of alcohol. And honest to God, I was like 50 feet. I was like, fuck, I mean, I feel like I am for the most part. Like, it's all around you. It's such a big business, especially in entertainment.
Yep.
And it's hard to sort of escape. And like, I think we all have a love-hate relationship with it,
Yeah, and it's what we center most of our activities around. Oh, you want to go grab a drink? Because there's really not a lot else to do, which is crazy.
There's a lot of businesses like bars and restaurants that make their money off that.
Right, and like, it's different when you obviously need to be sober for certain reasons, but it's cool that people are just changing their relationship with it.
Yeah,
and also like, there was this bartender on TikTok or someone who worked in like the alcohol industry who's getting into it with me and like arguing with me. He's like, this movement will never like sustain. I'm like, dude, like, first of all, it's a scarcity mindset. You thinking that because there's more people interested in being sober, that's like money taken away from you. You need to adapt.
Yeah.
And whatever industry, whatever place you work at, establishment, start offering options, because there's plenty of people who are not alcoholics but want to drink less, and they will go with their friends because there's an option for them.
That is so true. It's not that people don't. Just because you don't drink doesn't mean that you were an alcoholic or
right.
Are an
Like
alcoholic.
You can still, like I really try to pick. Well, first of all, like I'm not the one dictating, like, oh, we have to go somewhere because they have mocktails. It's fine. Like I'm not gonna whatever.
Cool, yeah, whatever works.
If a place has mocktails, it gets me really excited. Because even if I know, I'm like, oh, I can have one drink and then I'll have a mocktail.
Yep.
Or my biggest thing that I tell people who are like Kai William, him and I have really like connected a lot too, and he told me that like listening to my show has gotten him into trying this out, and he said one of his favorite tips that I gave was to start the night with a mocktail, because like that first drink is kind of the gateway drink.
Yeah.
Or if they don't have mocktails, give yourself an hour to an hour and a half to not drink when you first get to an establishment. Exercise that self-control, and then you decide. And if you decide you want to have one, that's fine, because you just ate up an hour anyway.
Yeah, it says a lot if you are just like...
Yeah, right. So that's how you kind of
that,
test. Yeah. And because it's such like a natural thing, like you're just like, oh, grab a drink, first thing you do. And so if you can be somewhere in an
really good
environment
advice,
without it. Thank you. Yeah, this is all from trial and error. I mean, I tell people this all the time. Like the reason why I got into it was because I got a nose job last year, and my doctor was like, no drinking for 4 weeks before, 4 weeks after. So it was a forced. It was a forced break for 2 months, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Yeah. I feel so good. I'm like, literally, I kept the break going on. I think I did 5 months before I touched another drink.
Yeah.
I think 4 or 5 months total. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't want to have a reason sometimes like that, but it is a great
but it was
reason.
Cool. It was cool. I mean, just try it. Like, I mean, I'm all about not holding yourself to crazy standards. It's different if you have an issue. Obviously, I'm not going to speak to that, but like, just try. Like, try a night, try a weekend.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work. Try again the next day.
I do like the mocktails. So like why I mentioned marijuana, like we have like a weed juice, so to speak, or whatever.
What is it called?
Tonic.
Okay, I just bought one recently.
There's
but
one called Can too, though. CANN.
I don't know. we got this really cool looking bottle from the dispensary. It's like a blue bottle and it looks really fancy, but I'm so afraid to try. I bought it because I like the bottle.
Well, the liquid will fuck you up. I'm telling you.
The edibles fuck. I mean, I can't
liquid
even have.
Hits you faster too.
Yeah, it's you know what? The weed industry is bull. I miss
Dude,
the
it's
weed
crazy.
from college.
Yeah, same.
Where it like barely got you high. I miss
There's
that.
no such thing as mids anymore. Yeah.
No, why? I want if anybody in Chicago has mids,
Everything's
please give it
fucking
to
sour
me.
diesel.
Like it's not cool. I don't want to get that fucked up.
Anybody got bad weed? We got to buy her.
I literally will be your number one customer. I miss the bad weed days. I really do.
It's insane how strong weed is these days.
Yeah,
I literally call flour hard weed.
Yeah. Well, you know, pens really fuck me up.
Pens fuck you up too?
Yeah, everything.
That's a dab.
I know.
Remember the fucking blowtorch?
Oh yeah, and that used to be like a big
That's
deal
just
if
in
you
a
did
pen.
a dab. I know. Now
That's why I
it's-
was like, dude, no blowtorches.
Yeah, I
You
know.
what I
They
mean? Now
made
I'm
it
like, now
handheld.
someone's like, yeah, you got this in my pocket. I'm like, oh.
I know. My dad likes weed a lot, and he has like, I call it like, it looks like a garage door opener, like his pen, and he always tries to give it to me. And the one time that it was right before we went into a blues club, and I'm like, Dad, what did you just give me? I felt like I was like dosed like with like acid or something.
Yeah, dude.
And he always tried to give it to me on my fucking wedding day. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, that is more dangerous than anything I've ever done.
Yeah, seriously.
It's crazy.
You'd probably be better off with coke than some of this shit.
Yeah, well, not that either. Everything. I also don't trust anything out in the market.
Yeah.
Anything. Like, I have not
So true.
done anything for many years because
good.
it is so sketchy.
It hurts. It hurts like the next week.
Yeah.
It's been a long time for me too.
Yeah, like as soon as I started learning about like fentanyl and all that serious stuff that like it's been years.
Oh yeah,
for
that
me,
was
'cause
crazy. That is crazy.
I'm not trying to fight. I'm too old. I also tell.
Yeah.
I say this to my husband, like, I'm too old to try a new substance.
I think
Done.
that's
You know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's like, why would I? Why
You've
would I?
had your time.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is
The
new and
experimenting
improved
days
you.
are over.
Yeah.
You know, and I
experimenting days
really
are over.
like, I run my own business and I want to be back to why I don't drink as much. Like, I want to be in optimum
For
health.
sure. You want to be the best
Clear
version
mind.
of you.
Yeah.
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 Damn. Okay. Well, fuck. That was honestly perfect. You hear that, people? It's a lot of you out there. I know that that's true because every time I talk about this, people always bring it up because there's a lot of people that are sober curious, low alcohol, and a lot of people have been affected by alcohol in negative ways too. Parents, loved ones, siblings, friends, whatever it is.
Yep.
But it can be so hard when they don't drink and you drink and you're trying to like do things together.
And like, you don't have to be an alcoholic to have a problem with alcohol. I was an asshole when I was getting drunk all the time. And I quit like getting drunk before I went completely low alcohol. Like I had kind of like the slow descent into like where I am now, or ascent, since it's a positive thing. Yeah. But I mean, I was really an asshole when I was drinking a lot. I was chaotic. I was erratic. Like, I mean, just like anybody was. But like, I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't craving it all the time. Mm-hmm. But you really can not. Most people aren't good drunks, you know?
Yep.
And so I really didn't like myself when I was getting that fucked up all the time.
Me too.
And I've changed. I've changed so much. Like, just become a better, chiller person. Freddie would laugh at that if he heard that. He's like, "You chill, yeah, okay."
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, it really does alter like your personality for, you know, the effects like linger.
It does.
So I don't want to belabor the point, but
no, well,
it is a cool.
Thanks for
I
sharing.
would love everybody to try it just to see.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's something that people are definitely thinking about and now talking about a lot.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, it's a movement. Everybody has a mocktail brand now. That's kind of like one of my pipe dreams is to either have one or invest in one.
Nice.
There's a lot that I love. I've been trying to get on Bethany Frankel's radar for a long time.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Bethany Frankel has a mocktail brand called Mingle Mocktails. She's like my entrepreneur muse. She's kind of like controversial, but in terms of business, like she's a badass, came from nothing sort of thing.
Hell yeah.
And that's like my goal. Like, how can I, you know, either have my own thing. She created Skinny Girl cocktails, if you remember that.
Yes, that's
from back in the day. Yeah. So
she's a very good businesswoman for sure.
Yeah, very much so. So, you know, that's kind of like my That's my little soapbox. That's my one of my niches, I would say.
You've got a lot of those.
I do.
Now, there's something I want to get your opinion on, and to bring it back to like how much times have changed. So just to draw a parallel for you, and I know you're gonna like this. DJs used to go to record stores, right? And they would listen to the records before buying it. They'd carry their crates to their shows. They'd color out the title on the record so that people didn't know what the record was, and other DJs couldn't ID it, and fans and stuff like that, right? They'd promote their shows by hanging up flyers and through word of mouth.
Yeah.
Flash forward today, DJs have almost completely transitioned to downloading music digitally, right? There are vinyl DJs and the 8-tracks of the world. They bring their USB in a pocket. Fans can Shazam
Yes.
to ID, and people announce shows on social media.
Yeah.
In the digital world of journalism, you think about things like print media and newspapers. Where are we at now with it all, and where do you think it's going to go?
Okay. So, not sore subject for me, but I know it is for. I'm in this group called "What's Your Plan B?" because I was actually doing a little bit of coaching for journalists wanting to get out of the business and into new fields for a while. And "What's Your Plan B?" is like a group of all print journalists who are just like, I'm not exaggerating, they're panicking about this. I think that there will be there's everything old becomes new again,
That's true.
but but print media is going to have to adapt.
Yeah.
The problem with journalism in general now, in any form, is that citizen journalism has become such a thing.
Okay.
Reporting on what are those apps that everybody has? Citizen. Right?
Yeah.
The lines have become so blurred, and people don't trust reporters anymore. And being a former journalist, I will say that it's not the boots on the ground journalists you have to worry about. It's the powers that be that are serving advertisers.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, they're the ones controlling the narrative, and they're not controlling the narrative in a political way like people think. It's don't run that story on this car dealership doing sketchy shit because they buy a lot of ads and that's how you get paid.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so it's the same thing with print. People have short attention spans now. There will always be a desire for it because of the cool factor. I mean, look at how Gen Z is taking out digital cameras again.
That's true.
Yeah. Or whatever, how we kind of did with Polaroids. We researched.
Yeah, there's some new app that somebody just invited me to. I forgot what it's called.
Is it the one that makes it look everything like a digital camera and
Yes.
it develops?
Yes.
My Gen Z friend has it too.
I got invited by a Gen Z.
Yeah,
too.
I'm taking her to Spy Bar on Friday. Actually,
Hell yeah.
So. There's gonna be something that comes out of this, but they have to just figure out how, and they have to not attach themselves to a sinking ship. They have to adapt. I don't know what it is, but there's something. There's something out there. There would be, print journalism is cool. There's something cool about my dad when he my dad does boxing. He does amateur boxing matches, and I've saved every article he's been in, and we frame it.
Yeah.
That's something that you can't get from the digital world,
Definitely. It's cool to and that's what I mean by with the DJ with the vinyl record, you can feel it, right?
Right.
And there's something so authentic about that. I have my parents' records over there for the original Michael Jackson,
the
Thriller,
story.
Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. I like that there's a little fucking scratch on some of the
right.
songs. You
There's
know
a
what
story, and I this is me in my weird woo shit, but I think that inanimate objects do carry energy.
Yeah, me too.
And you can feel something when you're around certain things
You Italian witch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a little altar for my best friend that passed away in 2017. I have some of his little knickknacks, and that's
awesome.
You can't digitize that. You know what I mean? And
No, you
looking
can't.
looking at a physical picture of him and I moves me more than the one I have on my phone.
Yeah.
So
Totally agree.
there will always be a demand for it, but it's gonna have to change, and people need to adapt their skills. I mean, that is why I got out of journalism, because not to say that, I'm so smart, whatever. I definitely wasn't at 27 when I got out of it, but I was this is a sinking ship. People aren't adapting. Wages aren't going up.
Yeah.
I need to do something else. And I'm still, fortunately, doing journalism, just in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like you are.
For sure. I mean, in your own way, it's that's why I said the very beginning, we are kind of journalists because we're reporting in one way or another.
Yeah.
like the truth, the real truth. Like we're having a conversation. There's no smoke and mirrors here. There's no advertisers. There's nothing other than you and I just trying to have a conversation.
Absolutely. And I know that's painful for people who went to J school to like, I mean, I really.
My wife was a journalism major. She didn't do that shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because you don't need to go to like you don't need a 4-year degree to do it anymore.
Yep.
And I mean, a lot of industries like 4-year degrees are becoming useless. I could talk about that.
Changing completely.
Ever. You just don't need it.
No, you don't.
And
college is for learning social skills.
Yeah. If you could call it, like, the social skills I had back then weren't great. But, like, yes, college is, by the time you graduate,
finding out who you are, meeting people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Making memories. It's the only time you can really kind of, like, just fuck around and face minor consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time you graduate, all industries have pushed, they're well past. I mean, I'm sure same for you. The cameras we practiced with in J school were, like, hunks of plastic and metal, and then you get to and then I was an MMJ, meaning doing all my own camera work. I mean, I set up my own live shots as a journalist.
Wow.
With it was called a live view backpack. You plug it into the camera and you like put something in front to like focus the camera, and then you make sure you stand in that spot and you're doing your own live shots. And like
shit.
That equipment wasn't in J school. I had to learn that on the job.
Dude, these fucking Black Magics.
These are really nice. I was admiring it.
I had to like go to a class. I had to have a videographer friend like walk me through them. I'm like, dude, I was rocking some fucking Canons, you know?
Yeah.
With batteries that I had to replace and shit.
Yeah.
Like, and
I know. It's so different.
It's
Technology
crazy.
is just like whizzing past.
Especially in the video world too.
I know. And there's so many tools and things that like, man, getting my podcast, just like the AV side set up, I was ready to throw in the towel. Like I literally almost threw my mic out the window.
Yeah, I love your setup though. I actually took a page out of your book, by the way. You have a
really?
separate camera that records you, don't you?
Yeah, like what do you mean?
Because like you do Zoom or something, right?
Riverside, yeah.
Riverside, yeah. I did Riverside for a little bit actually. But you're looking in the you're looking at your computer camera, but it's recording you from another camera, is it not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tried that this week or last week.
Did you like it?
I'm going to see how it looks.
All right, cool.
What angle do you put it at, though? Because it's like pretty close. I literally looked at it when I was setting it up.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, and I put it like right in front of me.
Yeah, it's slightly above.
It looks better, though.
Do you think?
Even if I'm not looking at it, yeah, I think so for sure.
All right, cool.
And for a long time, I was like, I don't want to show up the guests with a higher quality camera.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's my fucking show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, at the end of the day, like, it really is. There's an art to that. You put the guest on a pedestal.
Yeah.
It's about them, but at the end of the day, it's about you.
I know. I need to be the one who, like,
yeah,
it's my show. Like, you're the host. You know
right.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I'm vain as fuck. Like, let me tell you. Like, my brother has tried to, like, adjust. He's like, you should do this cool lighting. And I'm like, no, like, I want a ring light right on my face.
Yes.
Like, you know, so
I knew you wouldn't care about these.
I really appreciate this because I know that it's going to look good, you know?
It will look good. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, like, I'm trying. Especially, like, you know, not to get into, like, gender politics, but as a woman, it's like, I need to make sure that my shit is on point because, unfortunately, more people will listen to me that way. So as long as everything, like, looks good,
it does.
It helps. It helps. And people care about, like, the professional quality of the show, too.
Yeah.
You could have, like, have great questions, great guests, but if your show looks like shit, it's distracting.
It really is.
Like, I had to make sure, like, I got my mic down right, like the sound, everything. Mm-hmm. Because don't put out garbage, you know?
No, you have to have high quality.
There's so much competition. If you put out garbage, like, you're just wasting everybody's time.
It has to be high quality, everything. And that's why, like, I have 3 of these cameras. And when
There's
I,
3
like,
of them?
no, only 2 here.
Okay. Where's it coming?
I literally hired a podcast consultant to, like, during lockdown, I was like, hey, I'm trying to upgrade my setup. Like, I was having one of my friends literally, like, record the interviews and, like, change the fucking batteries on these Canons.
Wow.
Because, like, this, like, the investment that I put into it was, like, $10,000.
And it shows.
But exactly.
And it's very important that you say that. Like, anybody who wants to start something, you have to invest.
You have to.
Like, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be 10 grand right off the bat. But as your show grows, you invest more.
I had done, like, I did that after 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I need, like, I'm half-assing it. I know I'm half-assing it, and it's starting to bother me.
Right.
I'm just going to invest, and this is going to, like, I asked him, I was like, I need this to last me, like, a good amount of time.
Yeah.
He was like, look, here are the levels. Like, I get it. You don't want to spend all that money, but I'm telling you, your quality of content will be, like, so much better. Like, the vinyl backdrop, I still have that. I'll have that forever. But, like, it just looked really good. I felt really good about it.
Yeah.
And when I did the interviews, I was like, this is a fucking podcast now.
Right,
You
right.
know?
And it like saves time in post-production too when you don't
Absolutely.
have to like tweak a bunch of shit, you know?
Nope.
I try to give the best product I can to my editor. Sometimes I fall short if like something got
For sure.
But you know, something even out of my control, but like
They can fix it usually.
they can. I
Right?
hate to do it to him, but he can.
I know.
But like as long as I'm like making sure I'm testing all my stuff, there's
Absolutely.
nothing worse than like starting an interview and then realizing something is
Oh,
like,
dude, I got 3 recording devices
so
going on
it's
right
very
now.
smart. When I was a reporter, I can't tell you because I was doing it by myself.
Yeah, it's a lot
And
to remember.
So like, I can't how many times I double recorded or whatever, and then the whole interview just didn't exist.
Oh, God.
And I just wanted to like drive off a cliff. Drive off the cliffs of Iowa. And I was
Sometimes
reporting
I'm in the
Iowa.
middle of a question, I'll ask a question, and then the guest will start responding, and I'm like, is the camera recording?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
is
You
it-
double.
is
You
something
like
going on?
You second guess yourself. Yeah.
Hard to be present.
It really is. And so props to you for doing this.
Yes,
Like,
I don't have to worry about much, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not afraid to say, like, we're literally in my second bedroom right now. Like, this is a
I
comfortable
didn't
place
know
for
that.
me. Yeah.
I literally didn't know that.
I know.
It looks so good.
Don't you feel good in here? It's homey.
It does. It's very homey.
I'm
Like,
proud of my accomplishments. I
Yeah.
fucking put them on the wall, and
as you should.
yeah.
As you should.
Yeah. So, you know, I just wanted to continue to do the podcast. Like, when I made that decision, I was like, I'm really serious about this. I know other people aren't doing it. And like I said in the beginning, like, I felt like I was ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubled down on the quality and the amount of content. And I just got in this really solid rhythm where
Yep.
I was outsourcing, I was putting out videos. And that can be the double-edged sword about it because you invest money, you invest time, and you expect the output to be 1 million plays worth and 100 comments and DMs and sharing it. It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
You know?
Yeah. And it takes time. But like one thing I've noticed, and I know that you've done this for yourself, I mean, well established yourself, the credibility that I'm getting and the notice from like industry people.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That's worth more to me than 100 comments.
Yeah.
Like I had Destructo.
Of course.
His team reached out to me a couple weeks ago.
No
like,
way.
Could he be on the podcast? I'm like, "Pfft, yeah,
That's sick.
yeah, he can. And he was promoting something, like he's promoting his friendship cruise or whatever, which is fine. Like we talked about a whole bunch of stuff.
You already had it?
Yeah, it'll come out next week.
Oh,
next week.
good for you.
Thank you.
Oh,
like,
he's a
and he's a
legend.
legend. And he said, he's like, I don't have that many I don't have as many as I should followers, but I don't give a shit. He's like, all I care about is throwing dope events. And he's
Yeah.
an OG. Like,
Oh, dude, he's got fucking Skrillex on there.
I know.
He's a
he read,
legend.
I don't know, this was on his Wikipedia. It said that he came up with the name Electric Daisy Carnival and
That's true.
gave it to
So
Pasquale. Like,
he
that's
started
so cool.
Hard Summer.
Hard
as
Summer.
well, yeah.
His first event was like Sunday Sermon, and it was like him and his friends doing weird shit in a
He
warehouse.
started Holy Ship.
Yeah. And now it's friendship.
Yep.
So like that industry recognition and credibility and the friendships I'm starting to
Behind
develop.
the scenes, absolutely. That's what it's all about,
It
dude.
really like it is hard. Like I would love like someday hopefully I have as many followers as you do.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I know it took you time.
Long time
To do that. It's not just
sure.
one thing that pops off and all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're big time. Like it is blood, sweat, and tears. It is 223
Three.
episodes.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I love that. I actually told one of my friends this a while ago. He goes, what's your goal in the music industry? Like, do you want to have a lot of fans? Do you want to produce a Grammy record? And I was like, dude, honestly, where I get the most joy out of it is when I'm like backstage with my friends, or like I'm in the green room and I know everybody in there because of Sherman the Booth.
Right.
You know, and like I've had that experience so many times, and it's amazing on the back end of the music industry because like I've always said this saying, like there's a lot of people who do cut corners and backstab and cheat and do whatever, and they're alone in the green room. And I want to be the person that is in the green
the
room.
community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like behind the scenes, because you can have a lot of fans and that's amazing and they come to your shows and that's great. But like you are doing it for them. What are you doing it for you? Like the other people that are there with you. Are you sharing this experience with them?
Right.
And that's what I love so much about Hood Politics is like everybody that's on the label is literally a friend of the label. Like, when we went to Amsterdam,
you can tell,
dude.
I mean,
we're
you guys
like,
is like your videos are just like
we're homies.
Yeah,
we're
everybody.
just
It's
having
a love.
fun.
It's a love fest.
It is,
and that's really
so
cool.
many hugs. Yeah,
it's so cool to see. Like that humanizes. Like, I mean, you talk about a brand like that. That really comes through in the brand. Like,
definitely.
You know, and that's really cool.
Well, that's like the meaning behind Hood Politics. Like Susan started it because there was so many neighborhood politics about who has the best party, and he was like, "There's too many Hood Politics here. Like, I'm just gonna throw a party.
Smart.
People come."
It's such a good name.
Yeah,
I love a good name.
It is a good name. So like, everybody's invited to our parties. We don't care who you are. Like, no matter how big or small, everyone can be on the label as long as you're passionate about what you do. And it's just it's hit me on a deep level.
Yeah,
These
that's
people
really
that
cool.
we meet, the people that make an impact, and when we meet them for the first time in person, they're like it happened multiple times in Amsterdam. It happened in Miami. It happens in Chicago. It happens when I go to other cities. I have people that really like look up to me or respect me or are grateful for opportunities that I've given them for the label. Like this one guy from the Philippines came to Amsterdam. He came to our show. He goes, "Sherm, what's up? I'm Devara." I go, "You're fucking kidding me. You're kidding me," right? And we like hugged, we hung out. I played his song that he had on Hood Politics at the party, and he was just lit up.
That's so cool. That's like so personally
introduced
fulfilling.
me to his girlfriend, his friend, all his friends. "This is Sherm. He got me on Hood Politics," and I'm just like, man, like obviously I've made a difference in someone's life.
It's so
on the other side of the world,
right? It's so fulfilling.
It is,
and that's like you can't buy that. Like
no, you can't.
A fan is a fan, but when you can have that personal connection with somebody, like you can lay your head down at night and be like, wow, I did something.
Absolutely.
And that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why I'm feeling so good these days about it, because I know that like it's so hard to do this on your own, but if you have people that support you, we're a team. We're a family. Like we're going to do this together.
Yeah.
And we don't have to compete with other people if we just keep supporting each other.
100%. And like you inviting me on this show, like it's the community over competition sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Like just connecting with other people and knowing that there's space for everybody.
Yep.
Like you need to be on my show now.
Yeah.
If you do me the honor.
Let's do it.
My little baby budding show.
Let's do it.
I would love to have you.
For sure.
I'll have to think of some, because I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here. But thankfully we have, when you're
in the other side of the chair, right? You've been a great guest.
Thank you. It's weird. Like it's weird, but it's
you.
natural. I mean, we were friends. We knew each other before, so that helps.
Right.
Because I've definitely been in this seat before, and it's been a little like, what the hell? Like I don't know. It's like it's weird,
Yeah, of course.
It's weird, but this has been awesome.
This has been so much fun. Please tell everybody where to find you on social media, by the way.
Yeah, so
at The Italian Witch.
Yeah, right. I think that username's probably taken. Probably. So Elevated Frequencies is the name of my podcast.
Yes.
You can find it on YouTube under that name or on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then my name on Instagram and TikTok is just Olivia Mancuso, 2 underscores, and I post a lot of stuff on there.
Yes, you do.
I do.
This has been so much fun. I'm ecstatic that we got to do this finally. And again, I just want to give you your roses, your flowers. Like you deserve it. Obviously, you're so talented and you're experienced, and it's just really incredible for me to see somebody else, especially in Chicago. Like there's not a lot of other good podcasters out there.
Yeah.
That are like committed to it. Like I know like you're already tired of 25 episodes, but you got to keep going, dude.
I will. And thank you. I mean, you're the OG in this space. Like you've really paved the way, and I've had so many guests come on my show. Like Truth and Lies is one that comes to mind.
Oh my god, I love those
guys.
They
I'll mention you. It's like, oh my god, I love Sherm. So that's like always really cool, to have that connection. Like
that's great.
You're kind of like a little gateway for me to like establish some trust.
Name drop me.
I have without even asking you. So thanks for letting me continue to do it.
I saw you interviewed them. They are some of my favorite guys in the industry. They asked me to be direct support for their hometown headline show in New York in 2 weeks.
No, are you going?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
They were like, I'm good friends with them and their manager, and their manager was like, bro, like,
he's great.
Mario.
I emailed with him. He's on top of his shit.
He's the man.
That's like a manager you want.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
He's a fucking New York hustler.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, like we could give this to anybody. Like the show's gonna sell out. Like we don't need any help with that. but the boys love you.
That's
You're going to
so
be
cool.
the perfect fit to go on right before them. Like, come out to New York.
So cool.
Let's
You
crush
gotta
it.
Give them a hug for me.
I will.
I would love to meet them in person one day.
Oh, they're great.
I'm sure they'll come back here soon too. But yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Next year's going to be a big year for them.
I think I'll have to find the clip. I think we talked about you for like a good 3 minutes. So the Malort and
Oh my God. Yeah, maybe I should just not drink any alcohol except Malort, and then I'll slowly stop drinking.
That's a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. See it. Try it. Report back.
Slowly stop. I just saw a video. I don't know why people send me this shit. It's so gross. He dipped a Al's Italian beef in Malort. Like
oh my
a deep,
God.
like
That's
a dip
disgusting.
beef. It was tough to watch.
That's disgusting.
People are like, "Do you like Malort?" I'm like, "Nobody likes Malort." But we love to hate it.
Yeah, and you definitely you ran with it.
I did ran with it.
And you made some great content.
And guess what?
What?
I'm DJing their 90th birthday party.
Shut. That's fucking
It is
amazing.
the
That's
pinnacle
amazing.
of Chicago DJ.
Like literally you can't. What are you going to do after that? You have to retire.
I don't know. It's on a Monday night with the best dive bars in Chicago.
You have to retire.
I do have to retire.
You need an intern, by the way.
I do need an intern.
You need an intern to get all that extra content for you because I know you're killing it like on your own.
It's a lot.
But an intern could learn a lot from you.
For sure. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I try and provide my wisdom whenever I can, especially through the podcast.
Yeah, but like that you could also get like the free help too.
Yeah.
Well, free whatever. I had an intern when we had rooftop drops and she got college credit.
Yeah.
And
I remember that
I
actually.
just was her reference for a job and she got a job.
What was her name again?
Alyssa.
That's right. I remember her.
She was great. And she learned a lot. Now I think
Dude,
she's working
Rooftop
for
Drops.
a school district, but
Wow.
Oh yeah, rooftop drops, yeah. My first parlay into entrepreneur life.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks. I mean, that's how we met.
Yeah, that was how we met.
You and all the boys. You
At
came
the
and
music
played.
garage.
No, of 2112 Fort Knox.
Oh, yeah. Not the music garage. Yeah, Fort Knox.
Yeah.
And then I also did one for a holiday fundraiser, I think.
Yeah. That's the one where I met you. And we raised a good amount of money.
That was a blast.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, I remember actually. I made a little video around the Christmas tree for it.
You did. That was probably our highest viewed video, so thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a big help.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. Damn, I forgot about all the intersections we've had in our lives.
Yep.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. Well, let's hang out more?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, great. Well, Olivia, thanks for coming on the Sherman the Booth. You guys got to make sure you follow her. She's incredible. And again, congrats to you and everything. Keep going, girl.
Thank you so much.
Hey, what's up? And thanks for watching that video. You looking for more content now? I got your back. Go to my YouTube channel right now, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on all notifications so you never miss any upcoming exclusive artist interviews, Sherman the Booth clips, new music, live sets, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything electronic music. Cheers.